This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Hey you, my name is Thomas Tomscar Ridgewell, and I love memes. And not in a performative, how do you do fellow kids kind of way, but in a dangerously sincere, I've been on the internet for over 2 decades, and finding, sharing, learning about, and indeed making memes has been pretty much my entire purpose for being alive kind of way. I've made enough videos about memes by now that you really ought to believe me when I say, I love memes. Now, many great movies are adapted from other works. We've had fantastic movies adapted from books, plays, TV shows, video games, board games, even toys. But what about memes? Originating from the Greek word meaning that which is imitated, what defines an internet meme is incredibly broad. A funny image that you can recontextualize with your own caption. A social media post that adds a new word to our collective lexicon. A viral trend that expedites the process of natural selection. Essentially, if it's something that a lot of people on the internet are sharing and having fun with, it is debatably a meme. So, with memes being so well known and so widespread that even your grandma probably has a favorite Minions quote, you'd think there'd be at least a few instances of something on the internet prompting a creative spark that leads to cinematic greatness. You'd think, wouldn't you? Today I'm going to introduce you to every single movie based on a meme, and there are a lot of them. Because not only do I love memes and movies, but I also love pain and suffering and sharing that suffering with others. So, are there any good movies based on memes? Let's find out. Surfshark? Who needs Surfshark when you can have Skatesnake? Skatesnake is the coolest VPN in town. Everyone loves Skatesnake. Surfshark protects your data from hackers and malware. That's lame. Skatesnake loves hackers and will even invite them around your house for little kisses right on your lips. Nice! Surfshark is more than 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. Try harder, nerds! Skatesnake has just one server, which is gradually getting closer to you while you sleep. Surfshark lets you access content not available in your country. That's penis! Skatesnake blocks everything except 4 episodes of Young Sheldon, kills your mum, and fucks your dad. Get stepmom.
Stop making that noise.
Surfshark works on unlimited devices. Skatesnake doesn't work.
Hey Skatesnake, I'm home.
Hey.
Have you done anything since I left? Have you even moved?
Nope.
I fucking hate you.
So go to surfshark.com/TomScarFriends or use code TomScarFriends at checkout to get 4 months of Surfshark free. Or go into this alleyway most Tuesdays after 11 PM and ask the guy with the purple beard for a mini-disc copy of Skatesnake, but do not look him in the eye, and definitely don't follow him to a secondary location. Radical! Skatesnake! It's bad. I've just finished watching 15 meme movies. One of them twice because I accidentally deleted my notes after the first time. But before we get into those, I first want to explain what I do and do not define as a meme movie. First of all, I need to stress that I'm looking at movies that came from memes, not memes that came from movies. So I don't want to see any comments saying, what about Morbius? B-movie, snakes on a plane. There'll be no
Chicken jockey.
There'll be no
Oh, hi, Mark.
and there'll definitely be no Okay? Good. Second, I'm not looking at any documentaries about memes. That's essentially what you're already watching. I'm just looking at narrative-driven fiction movies. Now, a lot of viral news stories have been adapted into movies, but they don't really feel like memes in a way that seems relevant to this video. And honestly, a lot of these decisions are kind of vibes-based, and I just hope you agree with me. And if you don't, make your own video. Similarly, viral threads that got adapted into movies, such as 2chan's Train Man thread or Twitter's Zola, don't really feel like they inspired enough memery to count as a meme, except for one. Again, super vibes-based. Shorts that went viral and were adapted into feature-length movies also don't really feel like memes to me, even though I was in 2 of them.
Did that crab just fart?
And also, for no discernible reason, spent an entire year listed as a fake character on the IMDb and Wikipedia pages for the movie Pixels. To this day, I still don't know who did it or why, but I love them for it. Now, if the Kane Parsons Backrooms movie were already out, that would probably count, given that The Backroom started as a meme before it was adapted into a series of viral shorts. But it's not, so don't know why I brought it up, really. Movies that were inspired by memes but use off-brand imitations of them, such as Grim Cutty being Momo We Have at Home or Smiley, are out. You gotta commit to the bit, you cowards. YouTuber movies in general ride an extremely fine line because YouTubers do create, and in some cases are memes, but in my heart, I know it's just not the same. Also, LS Mark's video already exists, so you can just go watch that if you want to. After this video, of course. That all said though, I will be throwing one YouTube movie into the mix for reasons I'll explain later, but mostly it's because, as I previously mentioned, I love pain and suffering. Yippee! The Emoji Movie. Does that count? Are emojis memes? Maybe? Look, I don't want to get into a philosophical debate about the Emoji Movie. I just don't want to watch it. I'm in it, and you still can't make me. And lastly, movies that either never got released or I simply cannot get a hold of, even with the power of God and Surfshark on my side, aren't making it.
Because we killing everybody around here.
Which sucks, because I really wanted to see Zedun. They love this guy in Eastern Europe, and this year Russia even released a movie starring him. Incredible. Now, the scoring system for ranking the movies is going to be out of a possible 20 points. There'll be 10 points available for the movie itself, and a further 10 points available for how well/authentically the movie incorporates the meme it is based on. I'm also going to give you a score for the memes themselves. That won't affect the ranking of the movie at all, it's just my personal opinion, and I'll do what I want. So, without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to every single meme movie. In 2004, a severely jet-lagged Mark Hicks went to audition for a Nike commercial styled as Jim Kelly in Enter the Dragon, and the audition went not well. The clip soon found its way online, and given that Mark was sporting an afro and was doing some ninja shit, he was promptly labeled Afro Ninja, and the clip became a staple of mid-noughties meme culture. And look, I appreciate that by today's standards and with the infinite scroll of social media, this seems pretty tame and unastounding, but you have to understand that 20 years ago, we'd get maybe one new funny thing a month, and this was what we got to enjoy, and we damn well made the most of it. You don't know how good you've got it, okay? Mark, aka Afro Ninja, would appear in the Weezer music video Pork and Beans. He would also star in the very first episode of Tosh.0 in 2009, but perhaps most importantly, in 2008, he would write, direct, and star in a feature-length adaptation of his misfortunate meme titled Afro Ninja Destiny. The movie starts with the impact font because it's a meme movie, and definitely not just because it's cheaply made. We meet our hero, Reggie, a schlubby loser who works at the post office and mooches off his Aunt Mary. Aunt Mary? Why, that's just one letter away from Aunt May. I wonder what's going to happen here. They're going to make a Spider-Man movie. That's what they're going to do. It's basically just Spider-Man, but with a ninja. Reggie loves Kung Fu, so naturally he dresses as Jim Kelly for Halloween. A reference no one in the movie gets either, to be fair.
No, I'm Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon. You remember?
He also does this for some reason. But while at work, he discovers a mysterious undelivered package containing some magical nunchucks, or noonchucks,
My nunchucks.
as he calls them, because he's an uncompromising weeb. And then a man who is high on life but mostly drugs shows up, and wannabe hero Reggie jumps into action, and so that's the meme. We've recontextualized it as a failed hero moment instead of an audition gone wrong, and I guess it was filmed because they sometimes take passport photos at a post office, I guess. And then the guy who's on drugs calls him an
Asshole nigger!
which is misheard as Afro Ninja, because I guess he can't just call him Afro Ninja. Why not? Then the bad guy drops a grenade, the post office explodes, and the ghost of a magical Asian lady imbues Reggie with superpowers. Sure. So naturally, Reggie goes to bed, the clip winds up online, and in a trope you'll see many times in this video, Reggie becomes an overnight viral sensation. The next 4 scenes take place entirely at night, making it impossible to tell if time is passing, but Reggie wakes up buff. Again, not that you can see, because everything is incredibly dark. But don't worry, because he can now do Kung Fu and speak Japanese. Just like Spider-Man. Japanese Spider-Man, to be specific. Reggie even says,
I think I'm turning Japanese.
and they perfectly needle drop nothing. They don't play turning Japanese. They don't have any budget for music in this movie, so it's all just royalty-free, generic stock music that you hear in kids' brain rot content. Anyway, he becomes a vigilante, defeats a gangster working for a corrupt mayor, and then meets the ghost of his dead dad, who is played by Jim Kelly. But isn't Jim Kelly. And despite the protagonist of this movie name-dropping Jim Kelly earlier in the movie, Jim Kelly being right in front of him does not seem to cause any issues with the plot or continuity. I don't know who Jim Kelly is, but neither does anyone in this movie, I guess. It's fine. In short, the movie is bad. The acting is wooden, the cinematography is a disaster, and despite being the one thing this film should have excelled at, given that it is made entirely by stunt performers, the fight scenes are underwhelming and weightless. It's not good. Afro Ninja was a solid middle-of-the-road meme for its time that didn't leave too much room for interpretation or alteration, so I give it a 5 out of 10. The movie itself, while charming at points, has to sit at 3 out of 10, and the incorporation does at least get 7 out of 10, because while it certainly takes the idea and runs with it and explores it very deeply, it fails to find the humor in the situation that made the video so iconic to begin with. C tier. Oh yeah. This one's in the middle. It can get so much worse.
Did you all forget about Afro Ninja?
But to end this segment on a high note, as is the way with the internet, a lot of speculation and misinformation surrounded Afro Ninja. Namely, that the audition clip we first saw Mark in was unsuccessful, but despite not landing the flip, Mark did in fact land the role and was seen in a Nike ad that very same year with Jim Kelly. And also Mark has remained a prolific stunt performer and coordinator in Hollywood to this day. So, go Mark. We're proud of you. Also, while researching this video, I found that the Know Your Meme page for Afro Ninja was incredibly outdated and full of inaccuracies, and also had the N-word in it, so I joined the community and completely redid the page because I am normal and there is nothing to diagnose here. Anyway, I was talking about it getting much, much worse.
Charlie! Hey, Charlie, where Charlie?
The Charlie Charlie Challenge was your classic kids at a sleepover trying to summon a ghost type of trend, but what made it unique is that it was spread through social media via hashtags and YouTube videos, and I would argue that makes it a meme. Tenuous? Yeah, kinda, but it's my video. The Charlie Charlie Challenge, or as it's called on Amazon Prime, Ouija 3, the Charlie Charlie Challenge, is in no way associated with the Ouija franchise.
Well, I guess if it was on the internet, it must be true.
Apparently you can just call your movie whatever you want on Amazon. Anyway, it's very bad. And not the kind of bad where I have anything interesting to say about it. Not so bad it's good, or so bad I can tear it to pieces to a comedic degree. It's just
Boring.
the film follows a failing haunted house that, after the Ring-inspired deaths of some teenage girls, decides to cash in on the Charlie Charlie trend and offer a lock-in experience to play the game. Except they're only charging $20 a person.
It's $20 each.
So the best case scenario is that the guy who is paying himself and at least 3 other employees to work an overtime overnight shift is $100 in takings. Honestly, this business deserves to fail.
Guys, this is exactly how all bad horror movies start.
Actually, we're 26 minutes into this boring-ass movie and it still hasn't started. The teens do the challenge, an evil spirit naturally shows up, and just about everyone dies. And that's the movie. Honestly, I could break down why this movie was bad or tropey or cheap, but it wasn't made with the sincerity or passion necessary to warrant a genuine appraisal.
This is so stupid.
Watching this movie was a torturous experience that took over 4 hours as my dopamine-starved brain was desperately seeking any excuse to pause it and do something else.
Come to daddy.
Now, I like that the Charlie Charlie Challenge was native to the internet, so as a meme, it gets 5 out of 10 from me. The movie itself, 2 out of 10, because hey, at least they turned on the lights, and the incorporation, again, gets 5 out of 10, because it's in the movie. They put it there. I can give them that. D tier. This movie single-handedly made me realize that my least favorite type of movie is bad horror movies. And I'd love to say it's the only one on this list, but I know it's not. Dear David was a viral multimedia Twitter thread created by webcomic artist Adam Ellis that followed his POV of his apartment being haunted by a little boy with a fucked up head. It was cool, it was creative, a 7 out of 10, and I generally really like Adam and his work. Dear David is also one of the worst fucking movies I have ever seen in my life.
You're a total failure.
I'm a total failure.
The movie starts by introducing us to our main character, Adam Ellis.
Adam-y.
Because for some reason, this movie isn't just an adaptation of the story of the thread, but also a dramatization of the process of making the thread, biopic of a fictionalized version of a real guy who made a Twitter thread. And that's how you know we're off to a good start.
Top 10 reasons why Dawson from Dawson's Creek is a little bitch boy.
Much like the real-life Adam Ellis, Adam works at BuzzFeed making comics and gets a lot of negative comments and spends a lot of his time fighting with trolls on social media. Until one day, he fights with the ghost of a little boy who haunts the internet and kills anyone who engages in cyberbullying. And we quickly find ourselves locked into the plot of every single haunting horror movie you've ever seen as the protagonist's life falls apart, as the hauntings get worse and their mania increases, their relationships crumble because nobody believes them, etc., etc., etc. Hey, look, it's the real Adam Ellis. That's kind of cool. He's in the background. Trivia.
It's totally happening.
What really pisses me off about this movie is that it took something so unique and cool and creative and turned it into a paint-by-numbers horror movie that pads most of its runtime exploring a deeply unlikable protagonist's rage and relationship issues. Just show me the fucked up little ghost, please. Tonally, the movie can't decide if it wants to be sincere or silly, heightened or grounded, so ultimately it lacks conviction and fails at both. It presents me with a caricature of a character and then asks me to care about their plight. It looks like a movie, but it fails to evoke any of the emotions that watching a movie should.
This number keeps calling me.
How do you know this number keeps calling, Adam? It's a fucking unknown number. God! Perhaps the biggest sin of Dear David is that, to me at least, it just doesn't really feel like it gets the internet. Like it's been written by someone who is only kinda online and has a mere baseline understanding of the general social media ecosystem.
Sometimes you gotta troll the trolls.
We spend a lot of this movie watching Adam receive negative comments, and every single moment of it feels like this fucking scene in Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Ralph is the worst.
Hey, it's time for another round of Tom Reviews Memes in Media. After Adam tells a critic to go
Die in a fire.
other Twitter users jump in offering their own die in a fire memes, and while there are some uncanny postmodern Gen Z style memes sprinkled in there, most of them are the most 2005 era impact font motivational poster 4chan style memes you've ever seen, or haven't seen in the past decade, because while they're a solid effort, they don't really fit in a movie set in 2017. Which is the same problem every time. Man, who wrote this movie? A Gen Xer? Oh, it was? And it was the first movie they'd ever written? Well, at least they never wrote a second movie. Fuck!
I am dead. I'm so dead.
As for incorporating the meme itself, the movie sets itself up to fail with its semi-biopic approach. What made the source material so compelling is that you were consuming and engaging with it natively on Twitter. If you were going to adapt a horror book into a movie, you wouldn't just have multiple scenes where a guy sits down and reads the book aloud or writes the book. So why does so much of this movie focus on Adam creating the Twitter thread? We liked the story about the creepy little ghost boy, not the guy making a Twitter thread. Maybe my contempt for this movie is disproportionate. I truly do not know why it vexed me as much as it did, why it evoked so much disdain from me, but it did, and these are the consequences. 2 out of 10 movie, 2 out of 10 incorporation, F tier. A bad time. Also, Adam Ellis, if you are watching this, and I feel like you could be given that you are as terminally online and name searchy as I am, I do really like your work, and I have pre-ordered Let Me In Your Window, as I think other people should too. Please forgive me. Anyway. In June of 2005, a South Korean woman's presumably South Korean dog pooped on the floor of a subway train, and she didn't clean it up. Someone took a photograph of her, posted it online, and what followed was the very first instance of doxing.
I know where you live.
She was initially labeled as Dog Poop Girl, becoming something of a meme on South Korean corners of the internet before being quickly identified through her watch, strangely enough, and then harassed so intensely that she dropped out of university and was forced to offer a public apology. I'm unable to confirm if there was a ukulele involved or not, but we can only imagine. In 2009, informed by the Dog Poop Girl incident and an actress committing suicide after online harassment, the South Korean government decided to crack down on online anonymity and attempted to force Google to display people's real names next to any material they posted online. Google, oddly enough, said no, and then Google/YouTube was just blocked outright in Korea. It wouldn't be until 2012 that they found a resolution and YouTube was unblocked, but let it be known that thanks to a dog pooping on the floor, we very nearly didn't get So naturally, 16 years after the initial incident, the story of Dog Poop Girl would be finally immortalized in film. In Romania. And now, look, you might be forgiven for thinking that because the movie and the story is called Dog Poop Girl and is based on an incident where a dog pooped, that a dog would poop in this movie. It does not. In the film, our protagonist, Alina, adopts a dog who immediately vomits on a train. And as someone who's had first-hand experience with dogs vomiting, I'm 99% sure that they really made this dog vomit for real for this movie. So, animals were harmed during the making of this film. Stick that in the credits. Everyone on the train loses their minds. An old man tries to attack Alina and injures himself doing so, and naturally, someone films the whole thing. Of course, the clip promptly winds up online and goes crazy viral, winding up on the news the next morning, which is something our protagonist is staggeringly nonchalant about. And honestly, I don't know if I just don't get the vibes over there in Romania, but something about this film, its general tone and energy is so weirdly offbeat to me. I don't get it, to be honest. Romanian Asmongold weighs in and the harassment campaign begins. Alina is quickly identified through her watch, just like in the real incident. She loses her job and for some reason begins physically abusing her boyfriend, even though he's got a Red Dead Redemption background on his phone. Gamers rise up. For too long have we been oppressed. Also, a security guard who was on the subway train and failed to do anything about the situation loses his job and then promptly sets himself on fire on live television. And then, between scenes, someone murders Alina's dog and then she is cradling its dead body while sobbing drunkenly on a live. The vibes in this movie, man, they are a lot. Anyway, Alina financially abuses her boyfriend, pays a hacker to scrub her presence from the internet, and then gets beaten to death by the security guard who set himself on fire. And as her dying thoughts play out, she imagines an alternate, happier ending to the subway incident where everyone smokes cigarettes and an orchestra plays her off. Hey, quick question. What the fuck? Ultimately, what could have been a dark comedy thriller about the perils of mob mentality and doxing is undercut by its general silliness. It doesn't say much beyond that the media has a propensity to stoke fires for engagement. When you have a movie where a guy self-immolates and another guy gets an art gallery in his honor because he picked up some dog vomit, it's just a little bit too silly to say anything of consequence. The meme gets a 1 out of 10 for me because boo doxing, but the movie gets a 4 out of 10 because it's at least competently made, and I'm sure the vibes just aren't for me. The Incorporation does get a 7 out of 10 because all of the elements are there and they do explore a lot of the themes that are relevant. It's just missing the poop, which was important to me. But hey, at least it's got a girl and a dog and at least some form of excretion. Ew. B tier. In 2010, a fight broke out on a bus in Oakland, California between Michael Lovett and Thomas Brusso. The clip immediately found its way online thanks to the woman who filmed and encouraged the fight, Iana Washington, who would also go on to post a YouTube apology video. Again, still no ukuleles. Such a shame. In the clip, Vietnam veteran Brusso, who would become known as Epic Beard Man, wins the fight while sporting an I am a motherfucker t-shirt. And honestly, the whole situation is just grotty as hell. 3 out of 10 from me. After the fight, Washington tells Lovett his face is leaking, and Lovett repeatedly requests for someone to call ambulance.
Bring ambulance.
Naturally prompting the internet to nickname this random girl on the bus Ambulance. 'Cause why not? Russo and the phrase Amberlamps both became pretty notable memes of their time, with Amberlamps even being quoted in debatably the biggest song of last year.
Man damn, call her Amberlamps, tell him breathe, bro.
Amberlamps is a reference to Amber Alert. Wrong. It's a meme. So, to cash in on the hype, the incident was adapted and thoroughly expanded upon in 2012's Badass, starring Danny Trejo. And just as the movie's title suggests, it's bad. And ass. Trejo plays Frank, who, like Brusso, is a Vietnam veteran sporting an I am a motherfucker t-shirt. However, the movie massively simplifies the narrative of the incident. Instead of it being a verbal altercation that turned violence, Frank heroically steps in to stop two neo-Nazis from doing a hate crime, and then everyone on the bus claps. Yes, really, it's like a fucking Tumblr post. But Amberlamps is there, so that's fun, I guess. Cue the going viral and winding up on the news montage. Also, I love the fact that the actress they get to play Danny Trejo's mum, who immediately dies of old age in the film, is 10 years younger than Danny Trejo. Also, we meet the movie's love interest, who is called, and I shit you not, Amberlamps.
You're leaking.
Like the line in the video.
You're leaking.
That's fun. Anyway, he becomes a vigilante, gets the girl, and defeats a gangster working for a corrupt mayor. And wait, I feel like we've been here before. Also, at some point, he defeats a British man wearing a bowler hat. It's a lot. Also, I cannot stress enough how crazy the IMDb trivia page is for this movie. Amber is cleaning her wooden table, and even though you can't see the product that she is using, it is most likely that she is using Pledge. Pledge is a cleaning product especially used to clean wooden furniture. It was first made in 1958. While Frank is in the Bergamot loft, you can see a Nefertiti bust. Nefertiti was the queen of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt. A bust is a statue or portrait of only the upper part of the body. In this case, it was a statue of her head. The saying, "Let's get down to brass tacks," was used by Panther, which means let's get down to the essentials. This phrase was also used by Michael Douglas in Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction, and Jim Carrey in What the Fuck Are We Doing Here? So much of this movie takes place on a bus, man. Even the climax features a fight between two buses, because I guess the pitch for this movie was Danny Trejo bus fight movie. Anyway, he defeats the bad guy, who says,
"Somebody send Amberlamps."
Because I guess we needed a third Amberlamps reference in this movie, and then Frank gets the happy ending that the real Thomas Brusso super did not get. And then they made 2 sequels. Anyway, 2 out of 10 movie and 4 out of 10 for the incorporation, because they had to change so much of the source material to make it palatable, and I think that makes them cowards. Another one for the F tier.
Everything I say is so funny.
Now, I know I said I was going to dive into YouTuber movies, but I think Fred transcends the label of mere YouTuber. The character was so infamous, so widely known and despised, that I think he classifies as a meme. At least in my heart. Fred, a character created by a 13-year-old Lucas Cruikshank, would first arrive on YouTube in 2006, but wouldn't really explode in popularity until 2008. The basic idea behind Fred is that he's a 6-year-old kid vlogging his life, which is why he sounds like that. Yes, it was very annoying, but it was made by a kid for kids, so whatever. 3 out of 10, but it's not for me. In April of 2009, Fred would still become the very first YouTube channel to hit 1 million subscribers. I was only the 96th channel to hit 1 million subscribers, so that makes Fred at least 96 times better than me. I think that's how the maths works. Either way, I appreciate him as a part of YouTube's history, if nothing else. But in 2010, a feature-length Fred movie somehow made it to cinemas, and while researching this video, I learned that it only came out in cinemas in the UK and Ireland. The UK I can understand, that seems like a fitting punishment for the British Empire, but Ireland? They didn't deserve that, they've been through enough. The basic premise of the movie is that Fred has a crush on his neighbor Judy, played by Pixie Lott, whose English accent is so English that it sounds like an American trying to do an English accent.
There's so much that I wanted to say to you, or sing to you, or sing with you. That's all I want.
But when Judy moves, Fred decides she must have been kidnapped and so goes on a quest to find her.
She's been kidnapped.
by kidnappers.
Oh yeah, John Cena is in this movie, and honestly, his work ethic is admirable. He puts his whole Sinussi into it. He hits this role like he's the only human in a Muppets movie, and it's something to behold.
I've been told my body's pretty attractive.
Fred, you're 6. Who told you that? Look, I don't really want to break down the plot of this movie because, frankly, you don't deserve that. It truly is just a lot of screaming and silly faces, and something about the cinematography makes the whole thing look like the opening of a porno.
Jeez.
Now, what I'm about to say may be controversial, but I feel like where they went wrong with this movie is that they actually didn't commit to the bit enough. They didn't full send it.
Send it, Fred!
What I mean by that is that if you were a Fred fan, this movie probably isn't Fred enough for you. They tone down his voice, for one thing, but where they break Fred beyond repair is that they surround him by other teenagers of the same age as the actor playing him, which completely recontextualizes Fred. He's no longer a 6-year-old being played by an older actor, he's just a teenager who isn't very well. The movie gets a 2 out of 10 from me, and The Incorporation gets a 3 out of 10. Can I say it would have been a better movie if they'd made it more obnoxious? No, but it might have been a better Fred movie. F tier. F for Fred. And also fucking awful.
Grumpy cat likes terrorists. Grumpy cat likes Adolf Hitler. Grumpy.
Tartar Sauce was a cat born with an underbite and feline dwarfism, resulting in her looking perpetually irritable. Cantankerous. One could even say grouchy. Grumpy Cat truly was the last of the great lolcats, single-handedly keeping the funny animal top text, bottom text, image macro format alive deep into the 2010s. 7 out of 10 meme for Grumpy Cat. In 2014, Lifetime made what they called Grumpy Cat's first ever movie, which was both factually accurate and also surprisingly optimistic, as this would also be Grumpy Cat's only movie. Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever is exactly what you think it is, a wholly inoffensive direct-to-TV Christmas movie. The movie follows a loser child named Crystal who has no friends, but after making a Christmas wish, gains the ability to hear the thoughts of Grumpy, the unadoptable cat at the pet shop she works at.
I tossed a magic coin into a wishing well and made a wish.
Okay, I'm embarrassed for you. You are a loser.
Crystal and Grumpy team up to thwart a corrupt mall security guard and his 2 bumbling henchmen from trying to steal and ransom off a prized purebred dog. They, of course, save the day, and at the end of the movie, Crystal gets to keep Grumpy, finally getting that friend she's always wanted. What the movie doesn't show you, however, is the logical endpoint of a child talking to a cat that only she can hear. Psychotropics and electroshock therapy.
There are people who can help you, and we will get you the treatment that you need.
Also, don't get too attached, kiddo, because unfortunately Grumpy did die at just 7 years old. I'm sorry, does that grave have a fucking hashtag? At the end of the day, though, this movie knows what it is, and it does it pretty well. It's self-aware, self-referential, irreverent, and at points, pretty funny.
Time to meet our awful movie's heroine. With second billing behind me, Aubrey Plaza as Grumpy Cat.
It's basically a Deadpool movie in very few ways.
For those of you who are keeping score, we did have enough in the budget to destroy that cheap piece of scenery.
I also just especially love these two. Whenever they're on screen, it's a good time.
I think you might be right.
Hell yeah, I'm right.
Why do you think I'm right?
Maybe if they'd been put in a Home Alone movie, the franchise would be on better footing today.
That looks like it hurts.
Because it does!
The movie does throw Grumpy Cat in your face pretty aggressively. If she hasn't been on screen for a couple of minutes, they kind of just throw her on there like jingling a set of keys for the audience. Also, there's a scene where a dog bites a guy on the penis, and it's like...
I hope he didn't want children.
We get it. You want an Oscar nomination. Calm down. 5 out of 10 movie, inoffensive and honest. As for The Incorporation, it gets a very solid 8 out of 10. They get what makes Grumpy Cat work, and they play to its strengths. I can't really complain. Unlike that misanthropic little cat, though, am I right? B tier. What do you get when you take a Canadian artist, a website, a bunch of GIFs of animated hamsters, no idea how to spell the word hamster, and a sped-up snippet of Whistle Stop from the 1973 film Robin Hood? That's right, you get the hamster dance. The hamster dance was one of the first memes to ever grace the internet, and it was the first meme I ever saw on the internet back in the 1900s. I didn't like saying it like that. That didn't make me feel good at all. But the hamster dance is the only meme on this list that gets a perfect 10 out of 10 from me because it holds a very special place in my heart. The cultural impact of the hamster dance, at least at its time, cannot be understated, and it's the reason I couldn't spell hamster for an embarrassingly long time. It also might be the first ever example of nightcore. It led to hit songs, lots of lawsuits, and a very short movie. In 2001, Deidre Lockhart sold the rights of the hamster dance to Abatis International, who did their damnedest to turn it into a booming franchise. Did it work? Did it fuck? In 2005, they made How the Hamsters Saved Winter, which would only be released on DVD in 2009, selling under 2,000 copies and immediately becoming lost media. Unfortunately, however, it would be found in 2022, forcing me to watch it. The movie doesn't introduce us to our heroes, Hampton, Dixie, Fuzzy, and Haddo, because it assumes that we, the die-hard fans of these gifs, already know and love them. And we do, of course. I love Dixie. She's fit.
Now get Hampton excited, unless you want to redecorate the house.
Why? Is he gonna come on everything? They're a band, I think, and they've got to get to a gig, but they get stuck in the snow and wind up at a failing ski lodge full of nightmare people.
You're Australian.
But don't worry, because they save the failing ski lodge with the power of friendship. Or maybe the power of music? Honestly, I watched this movie 9 months ago and I don't really remember. It does suck though. This movie is only 20 minutes long and spends 20 seconds of its runtime silently showing characters loading a van, because yeah, that's what the kids want to see. 2 out of 10 movie, truly awful, and 4 out of 10 for incorporation because hey, it's got hamsters in it and they do play a whole minute of that sweet, sweet hamster dance song. D-tier. Not good.
Alright, I'm done.
Alright, here is how our tier list is looking so far. Will it get any better? Can it get any worse? You will have to find out in part 2 of this video coming next month. Hopefully. This also gives you an opportunity to point out any movies that I might have missed and force me to watch them. Yippee! Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Tomska out.
Thank you for the money. Hey you, 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 thank you for the money.
Thank you, patrons. We appreciate it. I hope we turned your money into something that you found at least kind of funny. Oh, it rhymed. That's fun. Okay, bye.